Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to the intuitive card reading for the month of June. Can you believe it? It's already June. We're almost halfway done with the year, and I'm excited. I'm excited. I want to see what the energies are going to be for a brand new month. So you guys know what to do. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell. And please share this video with anybody that needs to hear the energies of the month. Now, I also want to say I am using natural light. So hopefully it doesn't, it gets a little cloudy, then it gets light again. But hopefully it's not super distracting. I wanted to close the window, but this natural light just makes me feel alive. And I think it makes, it's not, there's no reflection. I think it makes the cards illuminate. So my apologies if it kind of goes in and out. That's what it is. And what else, guys? Oh yeah, comments down below. Just be kind. Feedback, always welcomed. Let me know if things resonate with you. All right, guys, without further ado, I'm using 2 decks this month. And they're shuffled and ready to go. And you guys are familiar with these, but I feel intuitively called to do 2 decks. And I listen to my intuition. So let's go, guys. What do we need? A mentor. Okay. Passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. Oh, I love that. Okay, so this is basically saying I've been through something, so I need to teach you. Okay, I want to mentor you. Love that. Okay, this is an indication that we are moving out of survival mode. I've said this quite a bit now. And so basically when we have these archetypes that are about really like giving back or participating with other people or being of service of some kind, they're really positive for that, right? They're saying that, hey, we actually have something to give, right? And so basically mentor is really great. Not too much more I can say of that. So let's move along. Action needed, the fates. Okay, I like the fates because it's kind of like destiny. So it's kind of like it will be what it will be, right? And so basically it's kind of like a more reflective spiritual card for the action needed. So basically it's saying, take action on what you feel is meant to be. So this could just be another way to say, I don't love the term destiny because I know that we have free will, but some things are really just written in the stars. There's stars on that card. There's some things that are just written in the planets. There's things written in your soul. There are things just kind of that are meant to be no matter what path that we take, right? And so basically it's saying, if you really feel like there is something in your life that is this thing, that is what is your destiny, to be a parent, to start this business, to help people feel a certain way, to create change in the world, whatever it actually is, you need to start taking action on this. There is, so basically whatever you feel you are destined to do, and I'm sure everybody has something, and maybe if you don't know what it is, it's just a lack of clarity, but it's basically saying what you know what is, or what is meant to be, you need to go for it, okay? And that's what it's saying. It's saying you can't necessarily sit back and kind of let it be in a more flow state, which technically the fates is, right? It's kind of like the action needed is more of that yang energy, and then the fates really in general is more of that yin energy, but it's saying combine them. So if you feel like something is your destiny, you need to take action on it, okay? So take that first step is basically what Spirit is saying. All right, what do we have an issue with? Beggar. Okay, confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival. Awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. Okay, so this is about asking for help. Okay, so we have issues asking for help. I laugh because, life story, right? For us hyper-independent people, right? We have issues asking for help. So if you need to ask somebody for help, or you need to ask for something, not necessarily for your needs, but you need help just doing something. We have issues taking charity. So this is, guys, could also be, going into a territory of issues of receiving. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward, honestly, guys. So we need to kind of move past that. It feels like we do towards the end of the month, but we definitely have issues with receiving, asking for help, that kind of thing. But guys, allow it, allow it. There's not too much more I can say on that. Like, people like want to help you. People will want to you know, do nice things for you or help you out in a hard situation. So let them. Okay. I'm telling you, people don't do it if they feel like they have to, right? You know, and especially in this instance, like whatever's going on here, it's basically saying they are able to help you, so take it. It's kind of like that energy here we have with the mentor saying like, okay, what we need to do is give back. Maybe somebody else is trying to give back. Okay, this is a collective reading, so other people are willing to give back. So maybe they want to give to you. Okay, so take it. It's supposed to be a give and take, right? Maybe the universe is just rebalancing itself. So that's how you kind of have to look at it. It's just like, it's just a balance, that's it. And then when you're in a better position, you can give back as well. Or you might be both, right? Which is kind of what Spirit is saying. Like, yeah, maybe you have the ability to mentor somebody, but maybe you don't have the financial needs. You know, maybe you can give back in wisdom, but maybe you don't have the, you know, the financial means right now, and somebody is trying to help you out with a bill or something. So, you know, it's not black and white, and that's what Spirit is kind of trying to say here. It's really just a balance. All right, what do we have challenge with? We have a challenge with serendipity. Okay, so this is about we're having issues with serendipitous things, which means it's kind of like flow, letting things flow, alignment, that kind of thing. Okay, somewhat similar energies to the fate. Okay, so we're having challenges letting things flow. Okay, how do I interpret this? So basically it's saying we're having issues letting things be in alignment, letting things flow. So this tells me that we are forcing things. Okay, so that is kind of how I would see it. Now, when it comes to the action needed, this is basically saying taking action on your goals, taking action on something that you really truly want. But make sure, you know, to balance these out here, speaking of balance, it's basically saying, yes, take action for the destiny that you want, but don't force it, okay? All right, let's give an example here. If you want to be a mom, I know this is a big topic for a lot of people. If you want to be a mom, if you feel in your soul you're destined to be a mother in this lifetime, you feel it, you've been mothering people your whole life, basically Spirit is trying to say you need to take action on that if you haven't been able to get pregnant naturally, okay? Maybe your next step would be, you know, going to a clinic, going to an IVF clinic, right? If you've been continuing to do IVF and it's not necessarily working for you, and you keep forcing it and spending all this money, because it's not cheap, guys, okay? It's not cheap. You're continuously spending all of this money, and it's just, that's not working for you. So maybe the next option is adoption, right? And the way that it comes about is that maybe you hear of, you know, your best friend just adopted from this wonderful adoption agency, and they're really looking for good people and all this stuff, and that came in a more flow-like state, right? So basically the IVF would be the forcing it, right? You're taking action, but it's still, you know, it could be a little bit forceful. And then the challenge here is letting things flow. Maybe you're not supposed to have a biological child, okay? I should have said trigger warning for you guys. I know it's just an example, but I know it's like a big thing for a lot of women out there, and it could be like a really, really tough journey. So my heart goes out to everybody, you know, trying to conceive that maybe, you know, can't. But that is kind of like a good example. It's kind of confusing a little bit. Hopefully I made that a little bit more clearer. But it's basically saying if you have a destiny, definitely take action on that destiny. But when you take action and it feels more forceful than it actually feels like you're getting there, it doesn't mean the destiny has changed. It just means how you're going to get there needs to be in a more aligned place. Okay? It needs to be in a more aligned path. Okay? That's all it means, right? And what is the destiny here? You're meant to be a mother. So whether it's adoption or going through IVF or the, you know, like I said originally, conceiving naturally. Those are all three different avenues of becoming a mother. Okay, becoming a parent. So and becoming, you know, fulfilling your destiny, basically. So that might be the energy going on here. It definitely feels intuitively aligned and right. So I'm definitely going with that. But I could see how it could be confusing. But it's saying take action on your destiny, But if it continues to feel forceful, it doesn't mean your destiny changes. It just means that the way in which you achieve that destiny needs to be a little bit more aligned. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Let me know down below if it doesn't, but I think I cleared it up as best as I could at least. Okay, what do we have to change here? What's changing? Vampire, depleting others for psychic survival, chronic complaining, and codependency. All right, it's in the shadow. So what's changing is, oh, I don't love this. Maybe becoming a little bit more codependent on others. Maybe being a little bit more in the negative space, draining other people. Okay, because when we talk about vampires, I automatically go to like an energy vampire, like, you know, sucking you dry of your energy. But it could also be other survival skills of like finances and things like that. So this could be towards you or this could be you. Okay, so going back, this is very interesting. It keeps getting me, you know, having me go back to explain things, at least making it a little bit more clear. That's very different from what I'm talking about with the begging. Okay, begging is basically saying accepting help when needed. Now, if you accept that help and become, you know, chronically codependent on it, meaning like you're dependent on, there's a difference between accepting something versus being dependent on it. Okay, that's a better, you know, guys, I'm getting a little bit better at my communication here. So it's very hard interpreting these energies. Okay, so doing the best I can. Yeah, so basically it's saying like with the dependence, you know, that would be an example of saying like that's not a good thing, right? There's a line, right? There's definitely a line. So basically what's changing is either, you know, we get to a place of maybe depending too much on others, or, you know, depleting people of their, you know, of their basic survival. I don't want to say skills, but like, you know, it could have something to do with money, their energy, their time, wasting somebody's time. That's a big thing here, okay? Do not be wasting people's time, okay? But also this could be reversed. This could be people wasting your time. So maybe you're getting rid of people, you know, or becoming aware of people that are wasting your time and your resources. Resources, that's a good word. Maybe they are depending too much on you, okay? Maybe you're changing that. Maybe you're putting down boundaries, okay? Boundaries always come hand in hand with the vampire card, with the vampire archetype. Maybe they are bleeding you dry in the bank account. Maybe you have adult children that are bleeding you dry in your bank account, and that's changing this week. So you either put down, you know, this could either mean that you're putting down boundaries with yourself, or you're putting down boundaries with other people of the draining of your own resources or other people's resources. So don't do it to other people is basically also to the lesson here, Spirit is saying. So there's a lot going on with either us draining other people's resources or people draining ours, okay? But the change is happening if we put, you know, if we are, you know, becoming aware and putting down boundaries in either scenario, okay, with other people or ourselves. So interesting, that energy. Guys, let me know down below how that resonates with you, because very interesting stuff. We don't like the shadow vampire, okay? It's very draining, and we do not want to be drained. We want to have an amazing start of our summer, and we don't want to be, you know, lean more into the codependent. We don't want to be, the card says chronic complaining. We don't want to be that negative person that people don't want to be around, or, you know, feel like our, you know, that we're using somebody or something like that, if there's somebody thinks that we're using them. So there's something, you know, going on with, you know, again, draining, whether it's us draining other people's resources or people draining ours. So that's changing. So whatever it is, it's changing, and it's changing, in my opinion, for the better. But we don't want to be doing that. We might just be becoming aware this week. This month. We're on the month of June. Okay, so interesting stuff, guys. All right, what do we need to focus on? Breathe. So just breathe. Actually, this one is more straightforward. Usually after I have a really hard one, I get a straightforward one. Breathe. Take a break. Focus is always about priority. Take a break. I actually don't need to explain that one too much. Okay, reflect. Hero, heroine, upside down. Escapism and a false sense of heroism. Okay. What things do we use to escape? What things do we avoid? Those are good journal prompts. It's under reflect, so it's more introspection. So what things do we avoid? What things do we use as escapism? This could also be, guys, there's something here about, no wonder we have issues receiving, because it's almost like we're paranoid that we are so dependent on other people and become that codependent and feel like we can't save ourselves. Okay, so no wonder we have, again, no issues being the, accepting things and being the beggar in the light. So basically, this could be all the time. We can also reflect on all the times we didn't save ourselves and maybe we should have. And also, too, this could also be a good month to really reflect on our codependency and our dependency on others, and how we feel like we can't rescue ourselves. We can't be the hero in our own stories, that kind of thing. So these are really deep journal prompts for sure. All right, responsibility. Oops, I accidentally pulled an archetype card when I went for the wisdom, but I always read intuitively. I don't believe in mistakes. So, that includes when a card flies out of a deck. So I'm going to read this. This is using the lack of money as an excuse not to move forward with life. Okay, responsibilities is to not be the servant in the shadow. So using the lack of money as an excuse not to move forward with life. So yeah, okay. So this means that we might be using our money as an excuse not to do something. Look, I know I know what it's like to be broke and not be, exactly in a place of like financial abundance, but it's basically saying our lack is kind of getting in the way. So it's our responsibilities to really try to find out where we can make more money, or where we can do a workaround, right? So if you're trying to go back to school and you're using the excuse that you don't have money, which is a valid excuse, then basically what you can do, it's your responsibility to look for every grant. I'm not a financial advisor, just being very, very clear, but maybe looking to student loans, or I know they're a hot topic right now, putting people into debt, but maybe there's a way, I don't know, it's been a while since I've been in college, but maybe there's a way that, probably not, especially if you live in America, which I believe we're like the only country that really puts people in debt for education, but at least the developed country. But maybe there's a way that there's a good repayment system, or maybe you only have to borrow a little bit or something along those lines. But look at grants, scholarships, things like that is a better way, obviously, to get there. So basically it's saying, the lack of money should not be used as an excuse for something in your life. You have your responsibility to try to make more money or get the money in a different way. Interesting. Okay, money, finances, and career. We have blessed. Okay, ooh, we like that for the money, finances, and career. Okay, so this is basically saying that the more we feel abundant, the more blessed we are. So it's definitely a good month to work on our money, finances, and career mindset. Obviously, I just talked about lack here. I like that they're both next to each other, because this is basically saying it's our responsibility to not be in lack, and then we get blessed, right? So we have money, finances, and career. So we are blessed. So we can capitalize on it in some way, shape, or form. So there is basically, it's saying it is abundant. You can start feeling that way about money. And then this could be more of a yang thing, which is masculine energy, meaning like we could actually be blessed. So you can be blessed with money, finances, and career. You can get a career opportunity this month. You can get a money opportunity this month. They could obviously go hand in hand, but it definitely feels blessed. Okay. You might get an inheritance this month or something. So it definitely does feel like there is, almost like this new attitude, because the 22, it symbolizes a few things, but to me it just sticks out as like small change. Not small change, but small change, if you guys know what I'm saying. Not change like coins. Change as far as like mindset goes. Like small changes every day can really help us feel better about money, and And once we start feeling better about money, thinking better about money, believing, that we're abundant, the more we can get back. So, but again, could also be a physical manifestation of some kind. All right, surprise. Trickster upside down, manipulating others through duplicity. Okay, so this is about almost like inappropriate behavior, making jokes when we shouldn't. So basically it's under surprise. So just watch for where you joke in life. Maybe you might say something to someone that offends them, or maybe you play a prank on somebody and it goes wrong or something like that. So it's going to come as a surprise. So to me, it feels like we can't necessarily see this coming. I know I'm reading it right now, and like it kind of feels predictive in a way, although we cannot predict energies completely. But I think you guys know where I'm going with this. Just maybe be careful of the pranks that you play. Maybe be mindful of your words when you're talking to somebody. Read the room if a joke is not appropriate. Things like that. So definitely pay attention to that. All right, friends. We have exchanging gifts. Okay, this is about give and take energy. Balancing that out. That makes sense, guys. We're getting these things up here. We already kind of talked about that. We have issues with beggar. We have issues with receiving, taking charity, letting other people help us. And then at the same time, we're also having issues again with feeling like we're dependent on other people and we can't save ourselves. So there's definitely a conflict going on here. Okay. And then we have the mentor, which is basically a giving kind of situation, giving energy. So this is about, I'm not shocked that we have this card. We do have it in friends. So this all has something to do with relationships, obviously. When we mentor somebody else, mentor somebody in a relationship, take something from someone. We're in a relationship with them. Maybe your family wants to give you money to help you out. This is about the relationships that we have. Are we draining somebody of their resources? Somebody is involved in all of these. So it definitely feels like it has to do with family and friends, obviously, right? So it feels like we need to figure out, to sum it up, from what I just talked about, pulling all of those different energies in, is know when it's appropriate to take and know when it's appropriate to give, and really redefining those relationships with your friends and families about this stuff. Maybe you have been depleting the resources of your parents for a long time. Maybe that really needs to change, because it definitely, having all of these energies up here, this is telling me that this may have been going on for a really long time, or it's kind of pretty big. Maybe your parents have been paying your rent for years and years and years, right? And you're maybe 20 years old, and maybe they're saying, maybe you're like, you just graduated college, maybe, 21, 22. And they kind of cut you off, because maybe they feel like it's not a balance. Maybe it just feels like, okay, I've already depleted all of my resources. It's time for them to kind of get out there and figure out how they feel about money, and how they could, the value of a dollar, all of that stuff, right? All of those different things that we have to learn as young adults. But that's just an example. So this really has something to do with if we're overtaking with friends, if we are undertaking with friends, if we're overgiving, not giving enough. This could also have something to do with, I'm going to use the narcissism word, okay? Everybody has a little bit of narcissism. We're not talking about narcissistic personality disorder, but sometimes when the vampire does come up, that sometimes signifies, narcissistic energy, because the narcissism energy is take. It's all about me. So maybe that, guys, I read these how they come through, okay? I am committed to the truth. Nothing is more important than the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This could be talking about our own narcissism, okay? So we might be becoming more aware of that, okay? It's all right. We all do it at certain times in our life. Sometimes when we're in survival mode, it could look like that, okay? And I know a lot of you have been in there. You take because you have nothing to give, okay? So it could be leaning on, the narcissism thing, but yeah, it's up to you to determine, right? But this is really about balancing things a lot more within your friends and family relationships, okay, as far as give and take. So huge lesson here for June. Very interesting stuff. Also big lesson with money too. So guys, I'm liking this. This is interesting. This is I like it because it's about growth. Okay, so I won't give you my summary until the end, but my master summary. But let's keep going. Magical child in the light, seeing the potential for sacred beauty in all things, the belief that everything is possible. Oh, I love that. Okay, so having a positive attitude, an outlook towards your romantic connection. I love it. There's not actually too much more I can say about that. I know that this in the shadow could be falling for somebody's potential, or pessimism, that kind of thing, but it feels more like you're looking like a young child, right? And you're looking at things with fresh eyes and with no other traumas or pessimism or anything that has, there's not anything tainting your vision, is a good way to put it. So you're seeing the romantic connection for its possibilities. And yes, again, the negative would be, fall in love with somebody's potential or their possibilities. But this is seeing it as a more positive thing, and it being a little bit more on the positive side. So this is about not necessarily letting your traumas and your past relationships and things that have happened in those past relationships taint your vision on what the relationship can be. So I love that. It gives us a more expansive type look at our relationships. So I see that very good for romantic connections. Okay. Important, come to the edge. Ooh, I love that. You're about to jump off the cliff. So this is basically saying, get ready to jump. There's not too much more I can say about that, but really, you're ready to move on to the next chapter. I would love if we got the poise card as well, because that's basically right about to take the leap, but you're doing the last bit. If there was like a 10-step process to something, this would basically be like step 9 or 10. No, I'm sorry, this would be 9, and then I would consider poised as number 10, like ready to go. No, actually, I misspoke. I'm changing my answer. It would be like a 9 or a 10, and then I would say starting over would be the 11, right? So, because that starts like a new set of digits. So, so come to the edge is basically, coming right to the end. You're on step 9, and that's why 9 is completion, by the way. And yeah, you're almost there, is basically what Spirit is saying. All right, health and wellness, what do we got? Damsel, understanding the nature of healthy romance inspires you to rely on yourself. Okay, so this is about relying on yourself. Forget the romance part because we're on health and wellness. It's more so relying on yourself when it comes to health and wellness, as it relates to taking care of your own self, bodily autonomy, making decisions based on yourself. Yeah, there's not much I can say there. It's basically you save yourself. Guys, there's a lot of themes here around saving ourselves. We have the hero heroine. Saving ourselves, our dependency on others. Obviously, I know we have one more card, and actually let's just pull that card because I really do want to sum this up because it's pretty obvious. Okay, chop wood is about doing the little things and making sure all the little things, dotting your I, crossing your T, make sure all the little responsibilities are taken care of, basically. And that makes sense. But I do want to sum this all up because, coming off of the damsel, there is definitely some big lesson, guys, here about how we relate to others, how we depend on others, how we, I didn't say this word yet, but individuality, I think, is also a theme here because individuality, independence. I mentioned hyper independent before with the beggar card up there. There's some kind of relationship that we need to fix here. Okay, I'm shocked we actually don't have the community card because it's almost like it's setting us up for, and maybe this is why it's under come to the edge, under important, because basically it's saying we're really coming to an end with something. Like maybe we are coming to an end of hyper independence and realizing that we do need to figure out a way that we can relate with people without necessarily being hyper independent or hyper codependent, which is basically sort of opposites, right? Because we rely too much on ourselves and then we rely too much on other people. What is the freaking balance is really what Spirit is saying. And it's definitely having something to do with friends and family. And where are the times that we can give back and where are the times that we need to receive? I think that sums it up pretty decently. And I think I'm going to end it there so I don't put my foot in my mouth trying to interpret these energies. But I'm telling you, there's a big lesson there. Also with finances, having the servant and like I said, the servant almost feels like divinely interrupted because I pulled, not in the right order, quote unquote, the right order, right? So I definitely feel like that card needed to come out, right? So I'm putting extra emphasis on here. So basically, using, our lack mindset to not get us where we need to go is definitely changing this month. And it's definitely changing how we feel about abundance and lack for sure. So I feel like a lot is changing here. So I'm excited. But don't forget to prioritize breaks, okay? All right, guys, I hope this resonates with you guys. I think it's really great. And I think it's really great because this is a lot of growth for 1 month. And I like growth. I don't know about you guys. Sometimes it could be painful. Sometimes it could be uncomfortable. But guys, that's how life works. So guys, have a wonderful month and see you next time. Bye, guys.